Good afternoon, YouTubers. It's Ben here from Southeast Queensland Storms, back with you for another Southeast Queensland weather update. And your weather update starts now. Good afternoon, Southeast Queenslanders. A very good afternoon, early evening to you on this Tuesday, the 16th of April 2024. Hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are, and thank you for tuning into today's weather update. But firstly, before we begin, if you take a look at the top and bottom of your video screen, you will see our contact details for all four social media platforms. And if you like this video on our YouTube channel, then please click that subscribe button and subscribe to us on YouTube. But you can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you're on all four major social media platforms, if you look at the top and bottom of your video screen, you can find our social media details on those platforms. That way you stay up to date with all the latest Southeast Queensland weather information at your fingertips. All right, let's get into the purpose of today's video update. And the reason for today's update is looking ahead to this Thursday, we see the possibility for some wet weather to return to southeast Queensland in the form of showers, and thunderstorms look to return to the region, and some thunderstorms look to be possibly severe in nature. So thunderstorms having the potential to be severe in nature, and that's partly due to some high levels of wind shear which looks to present across the region as we get into Thursday. But we'll have all those details for you coming up shortly. But firstly, if we take a look at the current weather situation across southeast Queensland, really not a lot to talk about through all of pretty much a majority of southeast Queensland. We see if we head out to the Maranoa Warrego into southern Queensland this afternoon, we do see some showers and convection thunderstorm activity occurring to the west of Boland and just to the northeast of Hebel. You'll see some thunderstorm activity just here and some isolated showers as well. And that thunderstorm activity does extend onto the Queensland-New South Wales border and into the very far southwestern parts of the Darling Downs Granite Belt. But for the remainder of southeast Queensland, not a lot to talk about. If we head up to Maryborough, Bundaberg, Fraser Island, we can see some very light showers moving onshore in an easterly flow up there. But again, not a lot of real excitement or weather of significance to talk about on this afternoon's satellite and radar imagery. If we take a look across southeast Queensland with our current temperatures, firstly starting for our residents in the southeast coast district, we'll start down the Gold Coast for this afternoon's update, and we've got temperatures of 24 degrees at Helensvale, it's 22 degrees at Canungra. If we head over to Bow Desert, it's 25 degrees, up to Munrooban, it's 24 degrees there, it's 25 degrees at Ipswich, 24 at Gatton, 24 degrees at Parkinson, 23 degrees over at Victoria Point on Brisbane's Bayside. The Brisbane CBD itself sitting on 24 degrees. Through Brisbane's north side, we go to Deception Bay on 24 degrees. It's 24 degrees at Bongaree near Bribie Island, 23 degrees at Moreton Island, 22 degrees at Donnybrook. Heading further north up to the Sunshine Coast, we've got 23 degrees at Maroochydore, 24 degrees at Marcoola, and it's also 24 degrees at Tewantin. If we push up into the Wide Bay Burnett district, we can see temperatures at Tin Can Bay currently sitting on 24 degrees. It's also 24 degrees at Gympie, and it's also 24 degrees at Maryborough. Up on Harvey Bay, Fraser Island, where we can see those very light showers moving onshore in that easterly flow. We've got 23 degrees at Harvey Bay, but just some very isolated shower activity with light rainfall through Fraser Island, moving onshore through Harvey Bay out to Howard, Burrum Heads. Nothing really exciting to talk about. It's 22 degrees at Bundaberg, 26 degrees at Gayndah, and lastly 23 degrees at Kingaroy. Heading to our residents on the Darling Downs Granite Belt, firstly in the northern parts, it's 26 degrees at Miles, also it's 26 degrees at Chinchilla, it's 25 degrees at Dalby, and then we head into Oakey, who's sitting on 24 degrees. It's also 21 degrees at Toowoomba, 24 degrees at Warwick. A little bit cooler at Stanthorpe with 20 degrees there. It's also 28 degrees at Inglewood and 27 degrees at Goondiwindi. All right, let's move into your forecast information. Firstly, we'll start with the official forecast from the professionals at the Bureau of Meteorology. And just a reminder, for all official forecast and warning radar information for Queensland, I urge you to visit the BOM at www.bom.gov.au/Queensland. Alright, this was the official state forecast for Queensland issued at 4:30 this afternoon by the Bureau of Meteorology, and in their weather situation, the Bureau does talk about a weak trough over the southern interior of the state. Will start to move east from tomorrow, likely moving offshore as we get into Friday. And then we also see the approach of an upper level trough which looks to enhance rainfall for southeastern Queensland as we go through from Thursday through to the weekend as well. So I'm also keeping an eye on the potential development of a surface trough that may pop up along the southeast Queensland coast over this weekend, and I'll have some details on that for you very shortly. If we jump ahead and take a look at Thursday the 18th of April in the official state forecast, the Bureau talking about mostly sunny conditions in Western Queensland, and then we go to isolated to scattered shower activity, tending to be widespread at times in southeastern Queensland. So the Bureau talking about isolated to scattered, possibly widespread shower activity in southeast Queensland as we get into Thursday, and then we also see the chance of thunderstorms in southeast Queensland as well. So as you can see, Thursday the 18th of April, the Bureau talking about that shower activity, possibly tending to be widespread through southeastern Queensland, and also the chance of thunderstorm activity as well for southeastern Queensland. So if we take a look at your forecast district by district, firstly for our residents on the Darling Downs Granite Belt for Thursday the 18th of April, partly cloudy conditions with the chance of some fog in the eastern areas during the morning, and then we go into a high chance of showers in the southern areas with a medium chance elsewhere across the district. We also see the chance of a thunderstorm on Thursday the 18th of April for the Darling Downs Granite Belt. Jumping over to our residents in the southeast coast forecast district, similar story on Thursday the 18th of April, partly cloudy conditions with the chance of some fog inland during the early morning, and then we see those showers, medium chance of showers, most likely in the afternoon, early evening, also with the chance of a thunderstorm. For our residents up in the Wide Bay Burnett district, similar story on Thursday the 18th. This Thursday the 18th of April, partly cloudy conditions, chance of fog in the southern areas during the early morning hours, and then high chance of showers up near Fraser Island with a medium chance elsewhere, also with the chance of a thunderstorm in the southern areas through the Wide Bay Burnett. Alright, let's take a look at some forecast model information for you, and just a reminder that the following forecast information I give you from this point of our video onwards is that of an amateur storm chaser only and not reflective of a professional or qualified meteorologist. For all official forecast information, I urge you to visit the BOM at www.bom.gov.au/Queensland. Alright, so let's take a look at what we can expect as we get into this Thursday for southeast Queensland. So the trigger, or the cause of our wet weather as we get into this Thursday, appears to be another trough system, which looks to consist of an upper level trough and a surface trough. So a surface trough working in the lower levels of the atmosphere, and then an upper level trough working in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And the two of them, those two troughs working together, looks to trigger some wet and severe weather potential for southeast Queensland as we get into Thursday. And then on Thursday into Friday, we see that trough system moving over the region. So what's the result? This is 1 o'clock Thursday, and you can just see as we get into 1 o'clock on Thursday, we see thunderstorm activity beginning to initiate out on the southern parts of the Darling Downs through Gundawindi up through to Inglewood, possibly through Stanthorpe, Texas, down through that Queensland, New South Wales border ranges area as well. Now remember, as we go through the afternoon to the early evening, we are likely to see showers and thunderstorm activity across southeast Queensland with the potential for some isolated severe thunderstorm activity. So isolated storms, possibly severe in nature, due to high levels of wind shear that we could see on Thursday as well. Now, with those high levels of wind shear, we're very likely to see that shower thunderstorm activity make its way through to the southeast Queensland coast as well. And just a reminder that some storms could possibly be severe in nature, with large hail, damaging winds and heavy rainfall all possible. Now, just a reminder, what is a severe thunderstorm, you may ask? What does the Bureau of Meteorology classify as a severe thunderstorm? So, if we see a thunderstorm develop and it produces large hail, which is 2 centimetres or more in diameter, or we see a thunderstorm produce giant hail, which is 5 centimetres or more in diameter, or a storm can deliver damaging to destructive winds of 90 kilometres an hour or more, or the storm has the potential to deliver heavy rainfall that could lead to flash flooding, or the storm has produced a tornado or has the potential to produce a tornado, then if any one of those 5 factors exist, the Bureau of Meteorology will officially warn and classify that storm as severe in nature. So this is 1 o'clock Thursday. Let's take that out to 4 o'clock Thursday. We can see the areas of showers, thunderstorm activity becoming a little bit more widespread through central southern areas of southern areas of Queensland, extending through to the Darling Downs Granite Belt, Millmerran, Inglewood, over to Warwick, towards the Lockyer Valley Scenic Rim as well, along the Gold Coast hinterland, along the Queensland, New South Wales borders. And then as we go into the early evening, into 7 o'clock, we can still see that shower and thunderstorm activity starting to encroach on the coast anywhere through Boonah, through the Scenic Rim, down through Brisbane's west, down through Brisbane's south side, down towards the Gold Coast and the Queensland-New South Wales border. And then as we get into 10 o'clock Thursday, we just see the chances of some isolated showers from Caboolture up to Maroochydore, but a majority of the wet weather and severe weather potential clearing southeast Queensland as we get into late Thursday night. So again, taking it back, 7 o'clock Thursday, we see the potential for showers and thunderstorms encroaching on that southeast Queensland coast area, but 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon, we see the potential for thunderstorms to be a little bit more widespread across the Darling Downs Granite Belt and also into the scenic rim, Lockyer Valley's Gold Coast hinterland, Queensland, New South Wales border ranges as well. This Thursday, not shaping up to be a widespread severe thunderstorm outbreak, but as I did say, some storms could have the potential to be isolated in nature and possibly reach severe limits as well, with large hail damaging winds, heavy rainfall possible, but I'll have more information for you tomorrow as we get closer to Thursday. And taking a look over at our severe thunderstorm risk, this is the multi-model on Meteorologics, taking a look at the percentage of severe thunderstorm or thunderstorm risk as we get into 1 o'clock this Thursday. We see 30 to 40% chances of thunderstorm activity across the southern parts of the Darling Downs Granite Belt as we go into 1 o'clock this Thursday. As we take that out to 4 o'clock, we can see those chances increasing up to 50% and higher as we get into those Darling Downs Granite Belt areas through the central and southern parts of the district. And then as we go through into 7 o'clock the early evening, we see 30 to 40% chances of thunderstorm activity along the southeast Queensland coast, anywhere from Redcliffe extending down through to Brisbane, down through the Bay Islands area and down to the Gold Coast. And then as we get into 10 o'clock, we see those percentages really drop off as the wet weather and severe weather potential moves offshore late Thursday night. And if we take a look at the significant weather parameters for this Thursday at 1 o'clock, we're looking at this purple area, which is associated with thunderstorm activity with light to moderate rainfall. We can see early Thursday afternoon thunderstorms possibly developing along that Queensland-New South Wales border ranges through the southern parts of the Darling Downs Granite Belt. And as we take that out to 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon, we can see that thunderstorm activity extending through to the Gold Coast hinterland, through a good majority of the central, west and southern parts of the Darling Downs Granite Belt, along the Queensland-New South Wales border ranges as well. In the green areas, we see the potential for showers with light to moderate rainfall. And then as we get into 7 o'clock Thursday night, we see the thunderstorm potential with light to moderate rainfall persisting through Redcliffe, Brisbane, down through the Bay Islands and down through to the Gold Coast as well. And then by 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, we see pretty much the wet weather is all said and done as we get through into early Friday morning. So that's a look at Thursday. Now, as I said, I also want to just give some early information on the potential for a surface trough to develop along the southeast Queensland coast as we get into this weekend. So this is starting at Saturday at 7 a.m. And what we're looking at here is we're watching for the potential for a surface trough to develop along the southeast Queensland coast over this weekend. So what we can see with that surface trough, we have a nice southerly, southwesterly, we have a bit of a southwesterly, southerly and southeasterly feed. So 3 separate wind flows all feeding into this trough, southwesterly, southerly, southeasterly, all feeding in to that surface trough. And as a result, what we could see is the development of some moderate to heavy rainfall along the southeast Queensland coast. However, the key part that I want to stress here is that the positioning of the surface trough will ultimately decide where the heaviest of the rainfall will be located. And very, very simple. For example, if the surface trough remains offshore, so if the surface trough develops over here and remains offshore, then all the heavy rainfall will remain offshore as well. However, if the trough comes in very close to the southeast Queensland coast or the trough moves onshore, then we're likely to see the potential for moderate to heavy rainfall this weekend through parts of southeast Queensland. But again, it's all determined by the positioning of that trough. At this stage, it's still too early to tell where the trough will be positioned, but I'll keep across all the latest forecast data as it comes out over the next couple of days to see if we get a better indication. And as you can see, as we get into 1 o'clock Saturday, 4 o'clock Saturday, we can see the potential for some moderate rainfall through Caboolture, Brisbane, through Moreton Island, down through Moreton Bay as well. But you can see kind of the heavier rainfall staying offshore. Again, an indication that the surface trough may just stay offshore. Again, you can see some moderate to heavy rainfall developing as we get into 7 o'clock Saturday night. But again, you can see that rainfall really not moving onto the southeast Queensland coast. And again, by 1 a.m. Sunday, we can see it just starting to encroach slightly a little bit as we get through into Sunday. And then as we get into Sunday 7 a.m, we can start to see some light to moderate rainfall making its way from Caboolture up through the Sunshine Coast to Rainbow Beach, and then some moderate possible heavy rainfall just off the Gold Coast as well as we get into Sunday. This is 10 a.m. Sunday and 1 p.m. Sunday, 4 p.m. Sunday, and then 7 p.m, 10 p.m, and then it's pretty much all over. So you can see, as we go through the model Saturday, Sunday, a good majority of the heavy rainfall just staying offshore at this stage, but it's too early to tell. But the key point that I want to make is that it's the positioning of the surface trough that will ultimately decide where the heaviest rainfall will be. But that's something I'll stay across over the coming days for you. But with that said, in the meantime, expect some wet weather and the potential for severe weather to return to southeast Queensland by this Thursday in the form of showers and thunderstorms. And again, be reminded, some storms could possibly be severe, and then we will wait and see what happens in terms of the surface trough along the southeast Queensland coast as we move into this weekend. But I'll have another weather update for you tomorrow. But in the meantime, as always, remain weather aware and weather prepared. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Have a great evening.